Have you ever calculated how much money you've actually lost because of your emotions? And I mean, really think about this for a second. Not your bills, not your rent or your daily groceries. I'm talking about a massive, hidden financial drain that you probably aren't tracking at all. I'm talking about the money you spent on a breakup, or on guilt, on FOMO, or, just trying to prove something to people who honestly don't even remember it today. Have you ever calculated the actual, literal cash you've lost purely to those feelings? Well, by the end of this explainer, we're going to fix exactly that. We're going to build something I like to call your emotional balance sheet. And trust me on this one, it might just turn out to be considerably more revealing than your actual bank statement.
So let's look at a case study to see how this works. The true cost of a breakup.
Let me give you a prime example. A few months ago, a friend of mine went through a pretty tough breakup. In the 3 months right after it happened, she unconsciously spent money on late-night comfort shopping, 2 solo trips to quote-unquote find herself, expensive therapy sessions, and honestly, a whole lot of food deliveries she didn't even enjoy eating. She just wanted the comfort of it arriving at her door. When she finally sat down and added it all up, bam, over 80,000 rupees. And here is the kicker. She didn't plan a budget to spend this. Emotion was in the driver's seat, making the decisions, and her money just quietly followed right behind.
And that right there brilliantly illustrates our core problem. None of us track this. We rigorously track our salary, our savings, our EMIs, but we never ever track the financial cost of how we feel. Which brings us to the problem. Emotional spending feels like relief.
Here's why this happens so easily. Emotional spending doesn't actually feel like spending in the moment. It just feels like relief. When you're heartbroken, buying something shiny and new feels like taking back control. So let's break down the 4 distinct categories of these emotional leaks that most people completely ignore.
Number 1 is the relationship cost. This is all that cash blown on extravagant gifts, trips, emotional proving, and even the money spent trying to win back someone who was literally never coming back in the first place.
Number 2 is guilt spending. This is money given to family or friends, not out of a genuine sense of generosity, but purely out of guilt. It's the cash you part with just because saying no felt far more uncomfortable than saying yes. Then we have number 3, FOMO purchases. When you're scrolling and see everyone upgrading their lives, FOMO doesn't feel like pressure, it just feels like keeping up. It's that expensive course you never finished, the shiny new gadget you never use, or that trip you took just because everyone else was posting theirs. And finally, number 4, the burnout cost. Think about the extra overtime money you earned by endlessly hustling versus the money you immediately lost on health issues, stress-related purchases, or just trying to recover from that very burnout. Now, individually, these purchases feel super small and totally insignificant. But if you add them up over a whole year, the cumulative math completely shocks most people.
So, what do we do about it? Let's move to the concept, tracking the weight of these decisions.
What exactly is an emotional balance sheet? Well, think of a normal business balance sheet. Assets on one side, liabilities on the other. This works the exact same way, except we're tracking emotional decisions. On one side, list your emotional assets. These are decisions that gave you real, long-term value, like good therapy or a perspective-shifting trip. On the other side, your emotional liabilities. That's the money spent purely to numb a feeling or avoid discomfort, like a phone you didn't need, or an expensive dinner just to quote-unquote feel better. Those are your leaks.
Listen, the absolute most crucial mindset shift required here is this. The goal isn't to make you feel guilty, not at all. The goal is just awareness, because once you see these assets and liabilities clearly written out on paper, You finally snap out of it and stop repeating the exact same emotional financial patterns on autopilot.
Let's get into the framework for actually building your balance sheet.
Here is exactly how you build your sheet in under 15 minutes. Step 1. Open a spreadsheet or just a notebook and make asset and liability columns. Step 2. Review your last 3 months of spending. For every non-essential purchase, just ask yourself, was this made from clarity or emotion? Step 3. If it was emotional, categorize it. Did it give long-term value or just short-term relief? Step 4. Add up both columns to find your real emotional net worth. And step 5, just repeat this monthly.
Doing this every single month isn't about aggressively restricting your life or your spending. It's about spotting the patterns. Maybe you realize every Sunday night you shop out of loneliness, or every family guilt trip costs you the exact same amount of cash. Once you see the patterns staring right back at you, you can finally interrupt it. All right, it's time for your first entry. And you can start right now. Here's one highly actionable thing you can do this very second. Before you even finish this explainer, I want you to think of the last purchase you made purely out of emotion, not a genuine need, just one recent purchase. Got it? Now write down exactly how much it cost you. That right there is your starting point. You really don't need a perfectly pristine spreadsheet or a flawless system on day one. You just need your first entry of total, radical honesty.
If this made you pause and think about your own spending, even for just one single purchase, that's the whole point of this explainer. I want you to drop your first emotional balance sheet entry in the comments below. Just the amount and the emotion behind it. Zero shame, just honesty.
And hey, if you want more explainers like this, where we aggressively mix money, psychology, and real life, make sure you're subscribed, because this is just the beginning of understanding exactly why you spend the way you do. So ask yourself, what will your emotions cost you tomorrow if you absolutely refuse to track them today?